Alright, good day guys. In today's video, we will be discussing functions of a real variable. So what are functions? What are functions? A function may be defined. A function may be defined as a variable that depends on another variable or quantity. So a function can be defined as a variable that depends on another variable or quantity. Alright, so let's take examples. Let's take example. Example one. Example one. Right, given a, we're given a, f of x is equals to 3 plus x in minus 1 less than or equals to x less than or equals to 1. All right, and b, f of x is equals to 2x plus 3 over 4 in 0 less than x less than 4. All right, 0 less than x less than 4. So given this type of question, what do you do? All right, solution. So the first thing, let's see, it said f of x. When you see f of x, it simply means a function of what? Of x. Function of x. So function of x is equal to what? 3 plus x. And outside in, they give us the range at which s can be. X is in the range of what? Minus 1 is less than or equals to x, less than or equals to what? 1. All right, let's translate that. So they said minus 1 is less than or equals to x, less than or equals to what? 1. So what do they mean by this? What they are saying is simply that minus 1 is less than or equals to x, and x is less than or equals to what? 1. So what they are saying is that x can only be what? Minus 1, 0, 1. Right? Our x can be minus 1, our x can be 0, and our x can be what? Can be 1. All right, moving on. So given our x to be minus 1, 0, and 1. All right. If our x, you are now going to say, okay, our x is what? Minus 1, 0, what? 1. So you are now going to say that when x is equals to minus 1, right? When x is equals to minus 1, f of x will be equals to what? 3 plus what? Substitute for x in the given function. 3 plus minus 1, and that what? 3 minus 1, and that is equals to what? 2. And that is equals to 2. So therefore, when x is equals to minus 1, our f of x is equals to what? 2. Same thing applies to the second one. When x is equals to 0, f of x will now be equals to what? 3 plus open bracket 0, which is what? 3 plus 0, which is what? 3. So therefore, when our x is 0, our f of x is what? Is 3. When x is equals to 1, our f of x will be what? 3 plus 1, right? And that's what? Which is what? 4. So therefore, when x is equals to 1, our f of x will be what? Will be given as 4. Now let's solve the second one. I said b, f of x is equals to 2x plus 3 over 4. It now give us the limits at which x can become as what? 0 less than x less than 4. All right, so let's translate this. They said the function of x is equals to what? 2x plus 3 over what? Over 4. Therefore, they give us the values for x to what? 0 less than x less than 4. So what do they mean by this? We are just saying that 0 is less than x, right? And our x is less than 4. So when you see this, what do you mean? That means our x can be what? 1, our x can be what? 2, and our x can be what? 3. So that's what it means, all right? So let's move on. So following the same step, when x is equals to 1, our f of x will be what? F of x is equals to what? 2 open bracket 1, just substituting for x in the given function, plus 3 over what? Over 4, right? Therefore, that what? 2 plus 3 over 4, and that's what? 5 over 4, and that will be our answer. So therefore, when x is equals to 1, our f of x is given as what? 5 over 4. Now let's look at when x is equals to 2. When x is equals to 2. So therefore, when x is equals to 2, our f of x will be what? F of x will be what? 2x, 2 open bracket 2 plus 3 over what? Over 4, which is what? 4 plus 3 over 4, which is what? 7 over 4. So therefore, when x is equals to 2, f of x can be what? 7 over 4. Our function of x is what? 7 over 4. Now let's look at when x is equals to 3. So when x is equals to 3, our f of x will be what? 2 open bracket 3 plus 3 over 4, right? Which is what? 6 plus 3 over 4, which is what? 6 plus 3 is what? 9 over 4. So therefore, when our x is equals to 3, f of x will be what? 9 over 4. And that will be our final answer. So therefore, that's where we are going to stop for this question. Now let's move to inverse function. For inverse function, what we simply want to do is as follows. So let's take example. Say our f of x is equals to 2x. B, f of x is equals to x plus 8. C, f of x is equals to x cubed, and d f of x is equals to root 2x plus 3. So given this function, and you are now asked to find what? The inverse function. What do? Let's go. So so you are giving your f of x to be what? 2x. Giving f of x to be 2x, you have step one. Step one, you are going to say that what? Let our f of x be what? Y. Let our f of x be what? Y. So if f of x is, let f of x is equals to y. So therefore, if f of x is equals to y, you can simply say that what? Y is equals to what? 2x. 2x. So step 2, you're now going to make x the subject of what? The formula. Making x the subject of formula. Make x subject of formula. All right. Making x the subject of formula, we have what? Our x to be equals to what? Y over 2. So therefore, if you now want to write the inverse function, you are now going to say that what? F inverse of x is equals to what? X over 2. Simply changing this y to what? To x. And that will be our final answer. Let's move on to example 2. B. So we're given f of x is equals to what? X plus 8. Given this type of function and you are asked to find the inverse function, what do? Following the same step, you say let your f of x be what? Be y. So therefore, if f of x is equal to y, you say y is equal to what? X plus 8. Alright? Y is equal to x plus 8. We now make x the subject of formula. Therefore, our x will be equal to what? Y minus 8. Alright? So when you now want to write it as the f inverse of x will now be what? X minus 8. And that will be our answer. Alright? Moving on to the third one. C. It said f of x is equals to what? X to the power 3. Right? F of x is equals to x to the power 3. Following the same step, we say our y is equals to what? X to the power 3. Alright? Now, here we cannot make x the subject of formula because we have what? S cube. Alright? So we have to find a way to eliminate what? The s cube. Alright? So that what? To eliminate the s cube, alright, you have to introduce the cube root to cancel, introducing cube root to both sides to cancel what? The s cube on this side. And that what? Cube root of y is equals to what? Cube root of s cube. So therefore, cube will cancel what? Cube root. We are left with what? X is equals to what? Cube root of y. Also following the same procedure here, we now have our x to be the cube root of y. So therefore, we can now say that what? F inverse of x is equals to what? Cube root of x, and that will be our final answer. All right. Solve the fourth question, which is D. All right. This says what? F of x is equal to what? Cube root of 2x plus 3. Solve that and let me know your answer in the comment section, and I will tell you if you are correct or you are wrong. All right. Try that yourself. Good luck. All right. Let's look at composite function. So given the example, so we have f of x to be what? 2x minus 3, and our g of x to be what? X squared plus 1. You have to find what? F of x plus g of x. B. F of x minus g of x. C. F of g of x. And this f of g of x can also be written as what? F o g of x. All right. Can also be written as this. Same as what? G of f of x. All right. G of f of x. All right. Let's go on. Solution. All right. To find f of x plus g of x is simple. A. F of x plus g of x. So what's your f of x? What's the value for f of x? Is what? 2x minus 3, right? And what's the value for g of x? That's what? X squared plus 1, all right? It's simply substituting the value for f of x and the value for what? G of x. So therefore, we now have what? 2x minus 3. So rearranging, what do we have? X squared, right? Plus 2x minus 3 plus 1. That was x squared plus 2x minus 2. And that will be our final answer for this part, all right? Now let's look for f of x minus g of x. That will be f of x minus g of x, and we now our f of x is what? 2x minus 3, and our g of x is what? Okay, minus g of x is what? X squared plus 1. Take note of something. Can you see that I added a bracket? All right, I added a bracket so as us to make mistake, because this minus will affect the what? X squared, and will affect the what? The plus 1. All right, so we have what? 2x minus 3 minus x squared minus 1. All right, so rearranging, we have what? Minus x squared plus 2x minus 3 minus 1, and that will be what? Minus x squared plus 2x minus 4, and that will be our final answer for this one. So moving on to the third one, C. I said what? F of g of x. So what they mean in this part is that wherever you see x in the function of f of x, right, you substitute g of x. All right, let's move on. So we have what? We have our f of x to be what? F of x is 2x minus 3, and our g of x is what? X squared plus 1. Right, so what we're saying is that in our f of x, we know it's 2x minus 3, but then we are going to write it as what? We are going to write it as 2 open bracket s squared, right, plus 1, then minus 3, and that was 2x squared plus 2 minus 3, and that was 2s squared. 2 minus 3 is what? Minus 1, and that will be our final answer. Right, let's move on to g of f of x. G of f of x. Right, so same thing applies to this part. what is our g? What is our g? Our g is what? S squared plus 1, right? Substitute f of x into x, all right? Into x, that what? 2x minus 3, 2x minus 3, right? Sorry, let me write it down. That was s squared plus 1, right? Which is our g. So therefore, we now want to substitute 2x minus 3 as x, right? That was 2x minus 3 squared plus 1, all right? And that's what? 2x minus 3, 2x minus 3 plus 1, all right? So expanding this, it will give us what? 2x times 2x is what? 4x squared, 4x squared minus 6x, all right? Then plus 9, then plus 1, right? So let's move on. We have what? 4x squared minus 6x is what? Minus 12x, then plus 9, right? So we can add what? Plus 1. Our final answer was what? 4x squared minus 12x, right? Minus 12x. 9 plus 1 is what? Plus 10. And that will be our final answer.